Good.
So laying in the antenna cable for the LCM, you don't want to put zip ties on top of zip ties, because zip ties have a thickness. When you wrap it, you're doubling the thickness. So the more zip ties you have in a bundle, the thicker you're making the bundle. So first thing you want to do when you're laying something new in is go through and remove the old zip ties that are in your way. We want to leave ourselves a bit of a service loop so there's no tension at the top near the antenna. Get our zip ties started. For an added piece of consistency, I like to try to make sure I pass my zip ties through the exact same way every time, so that I end the zip ties in a straight line. I massage the bundles a bit. I make sure I get a straight line in my zip ties. Now, you really only need a zip tie every 6 inches. However, in this case, because we have pre-existing wires that have connectors inside of the harness, I want to put my zip ties just above the connectors of the harness here. So the connectors here. Then I'm going to start another one down here at the bottom, so the connectors can't really move if they happen to back off. These aren't our harnesses, but these are the thoughts that you need to make. Now in this case, it's really hard to get my finger in the back here. So what I do is I bend the zip tie, pinch it down with my teeth, calibrated pinchers, and I send the zip tie through so that when it comes out the other side, it's already bent up towards my fingers. Makes it easier to grab. You don't have to pinch it with your teeth. You can pinch it with anything else. Notice I'm not trimming any of the zip ties as I go yet. Another one's going to be hard. We got a connector right here, so I'm going to be cognizant of my connector. I'm going to make sure I go above the connector. I want to be high enough that I'm not putting tension on the barrel in the back. So I want to be above the heat shrink of that connector. I'm just going to slide it right here. And again, I try to make sure that all of my zip ties, the heads of the zip ties, end in the same area. Okay? Now, ultimately, this connector is going to terminate here on this black box called an LCM. We have 2 spots, we have 2 cables, but look, we have all of this. Now, if we were well equipped, we would strip the ends of this off, cut the connector, and redo all the coax. But we're in a field situation, and we cannot do that. So it doesn't hurt it to roll up our cable. We want to keep the loops big because it's antenna cable. You try to fold it back and forth on top of itself, you kink the antenna cables, and what happens is you end up with something called VSWR, a high VSWR. VSWR is voltage standing wave ratio. Bends in the cables create reflective points in the cabling, which means that you're not going to receive your signal properly. So if you can see, I've got it just enough where I can reach out to here. I can connect my cables. It's not going to be a pinch point in the door, but I've got this loop that I need to secure. So I'm going to take a couple of zip ties. Secure my loop at all 4 points like it were a compass. So it's secured at the north, securing it at the west side of it, west side, securing side. And then I will secure it on the south side, third coast. We have our antenna connections. We have a red for cell. We have our blue for GPS. We just need to match them up to where they actually go. And they do not need to be monstrously tight. You can do it with your hand. Just your hand. Make sure you don't cross thread them because they're brass. Get wiggle out of it, tighten it some more. Should not be able to wiggle it side to side. Get in and get a closer look at those. Closer. Okay, you should not be able to wiggle them side to side. If they wiggle, tighten them. It means they're not secured all the way. The ground is down. Okay, now we'll get the zip tie gun and we're gonna trim up these. So we're going to use the Thomas & Betts ERG 50. It's got a rotating head. These are expensive, but they're worth it. So we're going to come up here. We've got it set to tension 5. And we're going to work our way down, because as we compress the bundle like that, you gain a little bit of slack. You want to make sure that you're working that compression down in the same direction, or your harness is not going to stay steady. If you randomly go in the middle and then just start doing it every which way, it's not going to sort of send its compression down. So notice we kept all our zip ties in our hand so we can throw them in the trash. That's how you do it cleanly. And we can shut the door and we can open it, and none of our cabling is being caught in the hinge. It's forcing itself outward and coming back. And that's a simple version of how you install cabling.